Hi there and welcome back to Money IQ. I am so excited to have you back. Honestly, the support, the love, the comments, the subscription has been so encouraging, especially for something I was so terrified to do. So this is just to pause and say thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all your comments. Yeah, let's get to it. As you know, my name is Toyosi, and of course, Money IQ is made up of two-man teams. So this is a special shout out to Gloria, my editor, producer, director, everything in one package. Amazing, Gloria, and thank you for all your hard work. So I am excited about today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics when it comes to money. Again, this is probably because I wasn't a true believer of this, right? And actually, when I started to do it, it then made a lot of sense. So I'm telling you from something that I've lived through, walked through, and I can see it working. So today, we're going to talk about budgeting. What is budgeting? Why should you budget? And how should you budget? I'm excited. So I hope you continue to listen. But remember, make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing, and I like to add commenting as well because we need your feedback. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us how we can serve you better. Tell us what you want to hear as well. So let's get to it. Budgeting is one of those words, right, that has that funny ring to it. I've got to be honest with you. When I was thinking about this topic, even when I was about to go to bed last night and I thought, oh, budgeting, it does have a subtle negative ring to it, right? But it's not that bad. We should all be budgeting. But actually, when someone tells you, oh, sorry, friend, I am on a budget, the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, this person is broke or person is going through a hard time. But actually, it's not always the case. Budgeting doesn't always have to be that someone is going through a hard time. Yeah, it could be, but it's not necessarily that. Or perhaps it's been used in the wrong way before, or in the past, which is why it has this negative connotation. So let's get to it and let's talk about why budgeting. Um, I'm going to start with this, of course, before we get into how. But why budgeting? Budgeting does have a lot of benefits. I would bold to say that the key to better money management is actually budgeting. Because what budgeting offers you is a display of your ins and your outs. And to be successful with anything with money, you need to have a clear picture and a better understanding of what is coming to you and what is going out. Then you can have better control, better allocation, better direction, and you can do creative things with your money as well. So that's I guess one of the most important things about budgeting. But something also that is an added plus to budgeting is ability to cut down your bills, which a lot of us didn't actually think about. Now, personal tips. So with my monthly budget, which lists all my income and my expenses, there is a small date on the side that says when a particular contract is set to end. And why do I have that? Because ideally, 1 month before that contract calls, I call the provider, energy, internet, mobile, and get my price down. Yeah, I've done this consistently for at least 5 years and it's worked. Now, let me tell you how I came about this. Of course, with tips and advice, especially with people like Martin Lewis, to tell you to haggle. But actually, what gave me this idea was when I had a phone contract with EE. This is not a plug for EE, by the way. When I was with EE and I got a phone, which was in SIM free, and they were like, oh, your contract expires in 2 years. But you know what I realized? They were not going to tell me by the time it was 2 years that my contract had expired and for me to go to a SIM-free deal. So, of course, being a rookie, I learned the hard way because I called on the month that my contract expired and they're telling me, oh, no, we can't change it. You have to wait for 1 more month. And so I lost 1 month and I had to pay extra. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, how much did that hurt me? But if I had just called earlier, I would have actually been able to haggle and get my price down. Again, another thing that budgeting offers you is loyalty. I will give you another example. BT. I've been with BT for close to 7 years now. So every time I call them, I'm just like, guys, I've been with you for 7 years. What can you offer me? Things like that. But you can only know and tell things like that because you've got it clearly written down. I mean, the human brain is amazing, right? You can think that you store everything in your head, but you will forget. So what budgeting allows you to do is see your bills, see your provider, know the dates you need to call. Remember, try and call 1 month before for any subscription so that you can get a better deal. Now, we talked about two things that budgeting offers, right? Budgeting allows you to see your ins, your out, so that you can manage money better, so that you can see ahead in the future. Again, not because you're God or an angel or a special being, but it's just that if you do a budget, 3 months budget of your ins and your out, you're able to see, oh, 1 month am I going to fall short? How can I move money around? Or how can I get advance money to cover such months? That's what having a budget allows you to do. Of course, the second thing is it allows you to cut down your bill by knowing who your contract providers are and giving you advance time to call them and get a better deal. Now let's talk about the types and how to budget. I guess there are different levels to budgeting depending on what your situation is. We always say context is king, right? Situations differ, and so just remember to know what your goal is for the year or what you're trying to achieve so that you can set such budgets accordingly. So I'm going to try and take a few scenarios. But this is what I think. Of course, remember, it's not one size fits all. You've got to be realistic and see what works for you. So I'm going to start with a family setting. Now, when I talk to friends and family, I always recommend that if you're in a family, where it's not just you, I would kind of not advise, except in dire financial situation where you need to get desperately out of debt and things like that. I would advise you not to go down the traditional budgeting route where you have a set pool of funds for set functions. So you've got £50 for money, this for hair, this for petrol, and things like that. Again, context is king. I mean, you can have a set budget for petrol, especially in this COVID era. It kind of might work, but the reason why I would say this for a family. So for a family, I would generally recommend you just knowing your income and your expense. Now, what you can try and do with your expense is be flexible. So have budgets, like have your petrol, for example, set as an expense so that you don't go over that. Like, do you understand? Try and be flexible in terms of what you put into your expense. Don't just make it bills and all of that. Look for things that you have to spend money on monthly and you can potentially cut down on and put it there. Now, the reason why I say that I wouldn't recommend set budget on food or entertainment, for example, is because as a family, it's not just you, right? And the thing, which I think I should have started with actually about money is, oh, anything can happen with money. I mean, anything, because life is so unpredictable, isn't it? So imagine you in a family. It's not just you. You've got a husband, you've got kids, you've got extended family. Anything can happen. So as not to discourage you or to get you frazzled or to get you in unnecessary debts because you haven't properly planned for stuff, it is probably better as a family unit to think about budgeting in terms of income and expense and see what's left. Now, of course, you can be wise and prudent and try and allocate money across months and things like that. But generally, that would be my preferred advisor or thoughts in terms of budgeting. Now, if you've got a big expense coming up and crunch time, you're desperately trying to get it all, if you want to beat clear your mortgage or if you're trying to clear your debt, then the traditional form of budgeting can work for you, where you know how much you spend on your food, entertainment, and decide to make drastic changes to that and cut it off. Getting on the lower SIM contract, make sure you're checking the terms and conditions. Is there a break clause and things like that? But where you're on a crunch and you're trying to get to a set financial target within a set period of time, yes, you can go with the traditional budgeting. But Again, like we talked about in a financial goal, you need to have realistic budgets. But the only way you can have realistic budgets is by knowing. So I know these days a lot of banks, a lot of apps offer you insight into how much you're actually spending, and what you're spending money on. So you can leverage tools like that to give you a clear picture of, say, over 3 months of where your money is going. I know oftentimes, I'll use my sister as an example. We are talking about where did the money go? Because that tends to be part of life. So apps like that tend to offer you that type of insight into where money is going, and that will allow you make a better allocation for your money. Definitely something to think about. you know a good example of a body or an organization that does that is the government, right? The government thinks about, okay, what is our goal for this political year, or what is our political goal, and you can see them setting aside set amount of money for that goal. So in terms of your personal finance as well, look at where you're spending a lot, make changes. Can you earn extra income? Make changes so that you can achieve that crunch time bound critical goal. So remember, I would say traditional budgeting works where there's a critical goal and you need money ASAP. Whereas flexible budgeting, and you don't have to be married or in a relationship or two of you or have a family to have this flexible style budgeting. You could be single and still have a flexible style budgeting. But remember, as long as your savings is coming out. But again, remember, only if you're meant to save. So there it is about the types of budgeting that you have. Now, I'd like to remind you, budgeting offers you great insight into your money. If you're not budgeting already, make sure you start today. Get out your Excel, get out your pen and your paper, write your income, write your expense, anything that has a set direct debits payment coming out monthly, those are your expense. Write it all out. Beside it, write the dates in which those contracts end, write the provider. So you can use tools like USwitch. Again, they're not paying us for adverts, but yeah, USwitch offers you a great way to compare your bills, compare the market, and so on and so forth. Don't use one comparison site, use more than one so that you can get the best deal. Now, those tools will allow you see where you can cut your cost. And that's one great benefit of budgeting. As well as if you have a birthday coming in month A, take for example, January being the longest month. With a good budget, you can actually see from November that, oh, January is going to be a tough month. I can try and pull more money from November to be able to cover my cost in January. And those are the great tips and great things that budgeting offers you. Again, like we all say, we are here to help you. We're here willing to talk to you. So if you've got any questions, if you need practical help and advice, please send us an email, drop us a comment. And if you just want to say great job, give us feedback, you can do better, also drop us a comment or an email. And thank you again for joining us. Make sure you're sharing this video on budgeting with your friends who need help or who just should hear this, with your family, and like our page and continue to subscribe. Guys, we're over 10 subscribers. That is amazing. I thought I was gonna have 1 subscriber, yeah, but thank you again for joining us. Take care and bye.